Hey friends, I'm Walker and welcome back to Olive Ave Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today I have the Cool Treats collection, which is the summer 2021 collection from Olive Ave Polish, which is my brand that I launched last year in January. So I gifted these to myself, I suppose, but I'm really excited to talk to you about this collection. So Cool Treats launched on Sunday, March 16th, which was recently. I tried really hard to get my video up before the launch, but just needed to focus actually on making sure that I had efficient packing systems and getting things prepped so that I could send out orders quickly. So I appreciate all of your patience. You know, this was a week where I tried to do probably more than I could, but this video is here now. I hope you find it helpful. I'm really excited about this collection. So let's dive into the swatches and then I'll tell you a little bit more about my favorites and the inspiration at the end. Okay, first we're gonna look at Pixy. This one is inspired by Pixy sticks, which I think of as this like sparkly sugar treat, and you know those big ones came in like the pink striped, very large tubes. Those were my favorite. They were so much sugar. I cannot believe I was allowed to eat those. But this one is a really pretty kind of fiery coral base, and then it has a kind of pink shimmer in it that is a blue toned pink shimmer. So it's got a little bit of that blue in there. It's a very warm shimmer. It's not a cool toned shimmer, and it gives it a really nice finish. So you're not going to see like pieces of glitter in here. You're going to see that just kind of like shimmery finish. So I really like this one. I think this one is opaque in 2 coats, and I wear it in 2 coats, but I could see some people wanting 3 because it's not a cream, right? And so it's a different kind of opacity. But this is 2 coats of Pixy, and I think it is sparkly goodness. Okay, here are some comparisons for Pixy, and I wanted something that was basically strawberry, but with a shimmer. So I think that what I have here are some polishes from Zoya that are just not quite the right finish or quite the right undertone. They're a little bit more kind of red, and then this one obviously is a little bit more pink and like purpley pink versus like corally pink. So I think that Pixy is kind of right in the middle where it's a bit more red. The finish is also going to look a little bit different on this one. It has kind of a tighter shimmer than I think these ones do. They're a little bit more like the base is a little bit more translucent, and so I feel like the shimmer looks a little bit more spread out, whereas I think in Pixy you get a pretty kind of tight shimmer in there. So I'm going to show you these 4 on the nails, and again, you can make that decision for yourself. Okay, the nice thing about filming this a little bit after launch is that I already know that this one is the most popular shade so far. We'll see if that holds true, you know, in the next couple weeks, but this is Strawberry, and I love this cream. I'm not surprised that it's very popular. I think this one is just one of those colors that I love to wear in the summer, right? It's a little bit pink, it's a little bit red, it's kind of corally, it's very fiery, it just feels really good. This one has a like juicy formula, so I think it gets totally opaque in 2 coats as you're seeing here, but it just dries down really glossy and has that kind of summer bouncy finish that I really enjoy. So this is not a red cream that has a ton of white in it, so it's not gonna give you that like, you know, fully like super chalky opaque finish that you get from some creams, which I also really love. This one has a little bit less white, so it's a little bit more juicy, but it does get all the way opaque in 2 coats, as you can see here. Okay, here are some comparisons for Strawberry. These were ones that were requested, but that I don't think are that close, so I'm just going to show you those first, and then I'll bring in ones that I think are a little bit closer. So this is Crake and Zelda. Definitely not similar, I don't think. Zelda is very neon. It's a very bright pink, and Strawberry is much more of like a reddy coral pink. It doesn't have that neon in it. And then Crake is a little bit more of like a salmony coral. It's not quite that same kind of reddy coral. So I love these both, but I think they're different. Crake is available now in the new packaging. So this is from last summer's collection, but it is available in the 14 milliliter bottle with the wide brush. Okay, and then here are the ones that I do think are a little bit closer. This one is Sonja, Dixie, Kylie, and Virginia. And I will show you these on the nail because I do think that there are some similarities here. I think Strawberry is a bit more pink than these other ones, but I will show you them in a swatch photo so you can make that decision for yourself. But in my opinion, Strawberry is different from these other ones slightly, and this is a color that I love to wear in the summer, so I'm happy to have one in my line. Sometimes I just gotta have my favorite colors, even if it's not, you know, the most unique thing on the planet, but that's Strawberry. Great, and here is the second color category in this collection. These are some oranges. Oh, I love a good orange. This is Tang, and this one I'm describing as like a marigold yellow orange. This one has a lot of yellow in it. It's very, very warm. So I'll show you it compared to pumpkin from last year, but I think, I mean, they're very similar, right? They're both like summery oranges, but I do think that they're a little bit different. Tang is inspired obviously by the drink Tang, which was so popular in the 90s. I actually didn't drink it that much, but I just feel like those commercials were everywhere. It was like just talked about all the time. Like it was very, you know, kind of the times. And so it felt very nostalgic to me. I'm showing you this one in 2 coats, which is how I wear it. So I think it gets totally opaque in 2 coats. I think it's actually pretty opaque on 1 coat. You can see like on my pinky nail there, that's still 1 coat. And so you're looking at 2 coats of the yellowy orange Tang. And this is just summer in a bottle, I think. All right, so I have basically already done this comparison because it's very similar to the one that I did for Tangerine Dream for the Orly collection. By very similar, I mean the exact same. But here's Tang, and I think the one that I wanted to show is mostly it next to Pumpkin here. So Pumpkin is a little bit of a deeper orange. It's not quite as much of like a yellow marigold orange. They are very closely related for sure, but they are, I think, a little bit different. And you know what, if I am known for having too many oranges, I feel like that is a reputation that I'm happy to live into. So that is that comparison. And then I do think that it's really different from these other ones. Again, it's got a lot more of that like yellow marigold in it. It might not be super unique in the whole world, but in my collection, this is the only one that I have that's quite like it. Okay, here's Creamsicle, and this is a color that, my goodness, I have known that I wanted this in my summer collection since last year, basically. I really wanted this one, you know, a color like this in summer reading, but it just didn't quite fit with the palette, and so this is, I think maybe was the impetus for the design of this collection, was I just really wanted a creamsicle color like this. I think in real life it's gonna pull a little bit more warm. Here it's looking a little, you know, kind of peachy and muted out, but I do think in real life it's a little bit warmer. I'll try and change my lighting in a second and see if it helps at the end, but this one I wear in 2 coats. I think it has a very kind of smooth formula, so you don't get a lot of patchiness. So you might need 3 coats if you have like super, super visible nail line, but I think it's pretty good in 2 coats. I just love this color so much. It feels so dreamy. Okay, let's see if that lighting helps a little bit. It's a little bit warmer. And so that's 2 coats of Creamsicle that you're looking at. Okay, here is a lovely peach comparison, kind of light orange comparison. This is Cole, everything's peachy, and Sawyer, and then Creamsicle obviously here in the middle. I think definitely Cole and Creamsicle look the most similar in the bottle, and I would say Cole is just a little bit, what's the right word here, softer maybe. Creamsicle is a bit brighter, it has a lot of white in it, and so I think they do look pretty different on the nail, so I will show you, you know, these 4 on the nail just so you can see them. But Creamsicle is unique in my collection. If you have Cole, you know, you might decide that it's pretty close, but I'll show you these on the nails. All right, now we're in the final color category. These ones are, of course, blues. I didn't have any blues in my collection last year, really. I mostly had greens. And so I just felt like I had to have a couple blues in this year's collection. So this is Roo, and this one is, I'm describing it as like an Olympic blue, like a primary blue. I know a lot of people asked me how it compares to some, you know, more Pacific blues, and I just, yeah, I don't think it, I don't think it looks like that. This one is inspired by Dunkaroos. I did take a little bit of liberty with this one. The packaging on Dunkaroos is blue-ish. It's a little bit more of like a teal color, but I don't know, I love this color, and so it had to fit in here, and I think Dunkaroos is like it's a pretty good explanation. But yeah, I love this one. I think it is opaque in 1 coat, but I always put on 2 coats just, you know, for the fun of it. I like that extra like layer of support on my nails. So you're looking at 2 coats of the very primary Roo. Okay, I got the most questions about Roo compared to different blues, so I'm gonna spend a little bit more time here. The first question that I got was how it compares to blues like Walker, or a lot of people asked about Porter Miami from Ave Polish. And Roo, I think, is much more of like a primary blue. It really doesn't have that kind of vibrant purple. I'm also wearing it right now, so you can see in real life how it looks. So I think that maybe in some swatch photos or in some lighting, it looks brighter, but it's it's not a Pacific blue. So that is not what I was going for. So I'm gonna pull these away and I'll show you some others. Okay, so this is Sia, Mallory, and Marin. I cannot find my bottle of Walker anywhere, but I just showed it to you on the swatch stick so you could see that. Marin, I think, is maybe looking closer to Roo, but Roo has a little bit of almost like a teal undertone comparatively. It's got just this like different undertone, I think, than Marin does. So I'll show you these 4 swatched and you can, you know, see if you see that on the nail. You might not, that's totally fine. I would say that Sia is probably the closest in terms of undertone to Roo, but Sia is a little bit darker in my opinion. Roo has a little bit more lightness to it, a little bit more white in it. It's a little bit, you know, less saturated. And then Mallory, I think, is much closer to a classic kind of primary blue, like a Crayola blue, whereas Roo, like I said, has a little bit of that. It's not teal, but it just has a little bit of a different undertone. So let me show you these 4 swatched. Again, this might be one that you feel like is close enough for you. I love blues, give me all the blues, so I have no problem adding this one to my collection. Okay, and then finally we have Teddy. This is the final blue and the final polish in this collection. This one is a little bit more of a jelly formula, so it's gonna get you a little bit of that more opacity on the first coat, but it will build up to full opacity in 2 coats in my personal opinion. And the reason this one is a little bit more jelly is because I wanted it to have that really vibrant, you know, kind of glass-like finish that you get from like a Crelly polish. And if I put too much of a white base in here or more color in here, it would get rid of that like glass-like finish. And so I really, really love this polish because I think that's what elevates it to a summer polish to me, is how much light and brightness you get from the finish here. I know it's a deep color, but I just think that it looks super nautical. It looks super like juicy and shiny, which to me makes it feel like it's summer appropriate. So that is 2 coats of Teddy. Okay, here is Teddy, and I have Orly, it's Brittany Beach, Kale Polish Gumption, which obviously isn't available anymore, and Palette Polish Aphrodisiac. It's Brittany Beach and Aphrodisiac are a bit more of like a bright cobalt blue. They're very, very bright, compared at least to Gumption and Teddy, which I think are close, pretty close. So I'm gonna show you these on the nails. A lot of people ask me about It's Brittany Beach. This one is very different from Teddy in my opinion, but again, I'll show you that swatch and you can decide for yourself. Okay, so all 6 of these colors are inspired or take inspiration from some of my favorite kind of nostalgic treats from the 90s. Teddy Grahams and those strawberry, you know, shortcake popsicles, creamsicles, pixie sticks, just things that I loved to eat when I was a kid in the 90s, or that just felt very culturally relevant to kids from the 90s. And I've had the idea for a collection like this with a very like limited color palette for so long. I thought it was kind of a different way to design a seasonal collection, and so I'd love your thoughts on whether or not you like collections like this, or whether you prefer one of every color of the rainbow. These are my 3 favorite colors to wear in the summer: blue, fiery corally pinks, and bright oranges. So I feel like this collection is just everything I love about the summer, all rolled up into one pretty package. But I would love your thoughts on if you like this kind of narrowed down palette, or if you prefer to see like 6 colors that are totally different from one another. I don't know that I have favorites, but I will say from each of the sets, I have one that I kind of gravitate towards a little bit more. The first one is Teddy. This one I think is a pretty close dupe for the discontinued Kale Polish Gumption, and I really enjoyed that shade. So I was excited to try to bring something similar into my line because I think it's a really, really solid blue. I love that it's juicy and nautical. I just really, really enjoy this one. And then Creamsicle is a color that I have really wanted in my collection with a better formula. So it's similar to Zoya's Coal. It's a little bit different, as you saw, but the formula on this one, I'm biased, obviously, I think is much better than Coal. Coal is an older Zoya, and so it's not very easy to use, it's not fun to use, and so I love this one because it's creamy, it goes on smoothly, and it's bright and fun. And then from the pinks, I think my favorite is Strawberry. I just really, really enjoy this color. I know that this might not be the most unique color in the entire universe, but you know what? It's one of my absolute favorites to wear in the summer, and so I had to put it in my collection. But I hope you enjoy this one as well. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, as always, thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know down below which one from this collection was your favorite. And again, would love your thoughts on this kind of limited palette. I know it's a little bit different, and so I'm just curious what y'all think. Awesome. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you in next week's video. Bye.